What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Don. In today's video, we're going to be ranking my 15 different credit cards that I have and kind of putting them in order from S tier to F tier. If you're an anime fan, you absolutely know what that tier list means. But I will kind of break that down for you guys as we get into the video. A little bit about myself. I have been in the credit card game, I guess you could say, for about 6 years now. But I really just started paying attention to things like sign-up bonuses and points and miles and cashback. All those types of things have been very recent for me. Probably in like the last 2-ish years that I've really been on the wave of like really knowing what these things are. And for me, what kind of came with that is just really data dumping on a lot of the people that I know, like in my immediate circle, whether it be my friends, my family, or my fiance. And I've just about like talked everybody's ear off when it comes to finance. It's not that they're not interested in it, but it's definitely been a thing where it's like you need an outlet to be able to talk about this stuff where other people are just also interested in it, and which I completely understand. You know, it's like any other passion project where it's like if it's not something that you're particularly interested in, there's only so much of it that you can hear before you're just like, okay. So I get it. So this is me kind of just like reaching out to whoever, you know, just to let people know and like using this as my outlet to kind of talk about something that I'm pretty passionate about. I really love finance just in general, even beyond credit cards. I really enjoy doing budgeting. I enjoy, you know, talking about credit scores and how you can increase those. So that's going to be what my overall goal is with my channel. Just creating a space for people maybe that are like me, where, you know, you want to talk about these things and you want to engage with people about this topic, but you just don't have maybe like a community to talk to anybody about this, because, you know, that's kind of where I find myself right now. So that's what I want to do. I want to talk about all these different things, and I thought that this would be a really cool topic because generally when people hear credit cards, you kind of fall into one or two camps, whether you understand it and like you're cool with it, or you're just like, I hear credit card and I'm like, ooh, debt, you know? So I kind of want to dispel some of that with my channel and kind of talk about these things in a more positive light. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not financial advice. I'm just going to speak from my own personal experience and see kind of where that matches up with other people. And like I said, just kind of exchanging ideas and different practices to see like where everybody's at and what you guys like, what you dislike, similar to myself and my journey with my credit card. So I thought this might be a really cool video to make, just to kind of talk about what my journey has been like with credit cards over the last 6 years and where I'm at today, and kind of like what my thought process is going forward as it pertains to this space in particular. So yeah, if that's some content that you guys are interested in and that's something that you want to talk more about, then this is definitely the space for you. I would be happy to have you. Leave a like down below, comment, subscribe if you're new. This is obviously a brand new channel, so right now it's just me, but I would love to meet new people and talk to new people about these things and see what you guys think. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Cool. So this is the tier list. Like I said, if you are an anime fan, you probably already know these tiers, but for my people that don't, basically F, obviously bad, D, bad, C, B, also you know, A, and then you have the S tier. S tier for me, as far as this is concerned, I'm going to say that the S tier is like a staple. Like if I put something in the S tier, that's a card that I highly recommend to people, that I think is overarching for most people, would benefit from this particular card, and that you should have it in your setup. Again, not financial advice, but just my opinion on what I think is really good. All of these cards that you see here are not all of my cards. This is just a website where you can kind of look up a tier list so you can make your own. So all these cards are not here, but my 15 are like the first ones that you'll see here. So we'll go ahead and get started with the very first card, which is going to be the Wells Fargo Active Cash card. I'm going to put this at a B tier card, for one, because there's no annual fee to this card. And I also have this one pulled up just so you guys can kind of see some of the benefits of this card. But anytime that you can get yourself a 2% card in the credit card space, you have 1% as the baseline for just about all credit cards, and then you have some cards that are 1.5%, and then you have the sweet spot right here, which is a 2% card. 2% meaning very simple, nothing to keep up with. Anytime you swipe the card, you're getting 2% of that purchase back to you in the form of cash back, and you can use that at your leisure, whether it be for gift cards or for statement credit, whatever it is. Very, very simple to use. I really like this card. And also does have a sign up bonus, which is amazing. That's the $200 after you spend $500. One thing that I do want to say about sign up bonuses, because one thing I've noticed just like watching videos and like hearing different people's opinions about credit cards and like the game that you play when you're a part of the credit card space, is the sign up bonuses. Don't ever sign up for a credit card just because of a sign up bonus. I would never recommend doing that. Only sign up for credit cards that are good for you and match your lifestyle and your type of spend. Don't feel like you need to use that as an incentive to get this credit card. Also, another thing that I don't really recommend, but it is kind of a good thing if you are a more seasoned credit card user, which is the 0% interest for the 12 months. I say seasoned because some people who may not be the most responsible with their credit card may see 0% interest and be like, oh, let me just run this up, you know? Not a great idea. Just because you have 0% APR doesn't mean that you should purposely attempt to utilize it. Like I said, keep it high level. If you're a seasoned credit card user and you're very responsible, like, cool, you can take advantage of that. If you're somebody who, you know, maybe that's not something that you're super experienced with, I recommend just pay your credit card off in full every single month on time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's not something that, as I continue to make videos, I will stress that point always. Don't be that guy. Next on our list is going to be one of my favorite cards, which is the American Express Blue Cash Preferred card. This card I'm gonna put in the A tier. I was debating on whether or not I should put it in the S tier or the A tier. The reason that I'm gonna put it in the A tier, and I'll pull this one up too so we can kind of look at it together. There we go. Okay, so boom. American Express Blue Cash Preferred card. The sign-up bonus right now is actually elevated. It's normally, after you spend $3,000 on this card in the first 6 months, you'll get $250 cash back as like a statement credit on your card, which is amazing. And because of the categories that you get for this card, it's very, very easy to hit that sign-up bonus. So let's kind of go over the categories. That's going to be 6% back on groceries, 6% back on select streaming services, which in my experience is basically all streaming services. And I'll even go into that a little bit further. Purchases made through Apple, like your apple.com account or like the App Store, are somehow coded as streaming. And I've noticed that on my own statement when I go and I look at my rewards, where I'll make like an in-app purchase or something, and on this card, which I have tied to my Apple account, it gives me 6% back on those purchases. So that's also like a cool little hack that if you purchase things through Apple, you know, directly through Apple, that you will actually get 6% back on that. Netflix, of course, Amazon Prime, Hulu, all the things. 6% back on all of that stuff. So streaming services, they keep on raising those prices. So you kind of want to be able to get something back for that. So very good card for that. And there's actually no cap for the streaming services. Unfortunately, there is a $6,000 cap for groceries, which is kind of what's keeping it in the A tier instead of the S tier. Hi, me again. I was in the middle of editing this video and then I forgot to mention this, but this is another reason why the American Express Blue Cash Preferred is my favorite card, because if you have the Disney Plus bundle, which I feel like if you have Hulu or Disney Plus, it really only makes sense to get the Disney bundle because you're gonna pay like $20 for it either way. But you get a $10 credit for having those. So now, it used to be a $7 credit. They just recently increased this, but now it is a $10 credit. And if you want to go for the whole trifecta, you can get Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max for a total of $30, all without ads. And then plus this credit is going to knock it down to $20 a month for all three of those streaming services with no ads. Beautiful, amazing deal. Way cheaper if you do have all those things. Not only are you saving money with the credit, but you're also still getting that 6% back. So just wanted to add that back in. Now back to the video. 3% back on transit. So that's Uber rides, or any ride sharing, parking, tolls, trains, buses. Very, very good category for most people. And then you get 3% back on gas as well. And then, like I said before, it has that baseline 1% back on everything else. You generally probably wouldn't use the card for everything, but if you wanted just a simple setup, perfectly fine card to do that. This card does have a $95 annual fee. However, for the first year that you get the card, $0 annual fee. So you basically get an entire year free trial, so to speak, with this card because you're not having to pay for that annual fee. So if you're somebody that is super anti-annual fee, take advantage of the card. You can see whether or not, it's something that you would use or something that you would benefit from. But I'll tell you right now, even if you hit this cap of $6,000 with the 6% back, that's $360 in value that you get just for buying your groceries, not overspending, not being incentivized to get more. Plus, you're getting that extra cashback bonus as well. So just the grocery category with its cap, plus the sign-up bonus that you would get for this card in the first year, mind you, that's almost $700 in value, and you paid nothing to get it. So every year after that, if you hit the cap on groceries, it's still $360, which more than outweighs the annual fee that you pay. This card absolutely is a staple. Like I said, the only reason that I'm putting it in the A tier is because of the cap. And because for a lot of people, like if you have like a family or something, and maybe you shop at like wholesale stores like, Sam's or BJ's or Costco, this card doesn't work there. Also doesn't work at Walmart or Whole Foods. So those are some that could be a big drawback for a lot of people, just depending on where you live. So I would say that's probably why I'm going to keep it in the A tier. But overall, the card is absolutely amazing. One of my absolute favorite cards. And again, this is one of those that has a 0% APR offer, but we just went over this. So don't be that guy. If you are a credit card fan, you know about the Chase Trifecta. I'm going to put this card in the C tier. I know. But hear me out. The reason that I'm putting this card in the C tier, first of all, I will be completely transparent. I am a little biased here. I am a cashback guy. I love cashback. I like the idea of having like a miniature savings account. That's kind of how I see cashback, because you don't have to redeem it automatically or anything. Like that money that you save every month from your purchases that you just make, they just kind of sit there until you decide to use them. So for me, cashback is definitely a lot more beneficial than travel, especially with like planes kind of, but that's a topic for a different day. I'm putting this card in the C tier. Another reason that this card is going into the C tier is because of this right here. This is another reason why this card is going into the C tier. Now, mind you, it does have a really good sign-up bonus with the $200 back after you spend $500. Great. I love that. I think that's a great sign-up bonus. No annual fee, also a great plus. 0% APR. But it's only 1.5% cash back, and the cash back is given to you in the form of points. Now, the points for this card, and a lot of other people that really enjoy like travel would probably disagree with me, but the 3% back on dining, 3% back on drugstores, and the 5% back that you get on travel, plus that 1.5%, for a lot of people, this is great. This can be just like a solo card, having something that gives you 1.5% cash back, and then you get 3% in other categories. I do think it's good. I don't know how much anybody would be shopping at drugstores for the 3% category there to really matter. I think that that's not a super great category. And then for the travel, you only get the 5% back if you book your travel through the Chase travel portal. So to me, that's two negatives. I don't really like that. Plus 1.5% cash back when there's like so many cards out there that will give you 2% cash back. I just think it's a little, I'm not a fan of that. Now, don't get me wrong. It's still a really great card, but the thing that makes this card the best is pairing it with the other cards. So for those of you that don't know, the Chase Trifecta basically includes this card, another no annual fee card, plus one of the Chase annual fee cards being the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserve card. Pairing those cards all together all the points that you accumulate for this card can then be transferred to those annual fee cards, which are travel cards, and then you can kind of, mix and match and do your thing. Like I said, I don't value travel that much to be able to just give up all of those like cashback points for travel. For some people, that's probably way better, and I could see why you would rank the card higher if travel is something that you're super interested in. But for me, as a cashback guy, I don't value it that much. And like I said, the 1.5 and then these other two categories, for me, they might as well not even exist. Like this could just be 1% and 3% on dining, and like I don't really see the value there. Next, the Amex Gold Card. Now, as I've already stated how I feel about travel, this card is gonna land itself in B tier. The reason that I'm putting it in the B tier is actually because of the annual fee. So Amex Gold, along with a lot of other cards, if you're just getting into the space, you might know this, and if you've been in here, you in the space for a while, you definitely know this, but the Amex Gold Card used to have an annual fee of $250. Recently, they have increased it over the last year to $325. So let's look at that. So as far as the sign-up bonus is concerned, it's very easy to hit as well. $6,000 in your first 6 months. And with the categories that you get for this card, 4X on restaurants, 4X on groceries, only at US supermarkets again, 3X on flights booked through Amex, 2X on hotels booked through Amex, and then 1X on everything else. For me, again, when it comes to travel, this is a great travel card. So as far as the travel aspect of it, it's amazing. I cannot disagree with that. However, when I got this card, there was a very specific purpose in mind. I had the card because I wanted to travel somewhere, and there was like a really, really good sign-up bonus at the time, which was 100,000 MR points or membership reward points. So it was a way bigger elevated offer than what you see here now. You can still find deals like that from time to time, kind of laying around, but this is typically what it is, the 60,000 MR points, and that just goes onto your American Express account. This is a card that doesn't necessarily need to be paired with other cards, but the American Express does have several cards a part of their membership rewards program, so it does pair very well with some other cards that I have, so that's also kind of why I got this card. But again, when I got the card, it was the $250 sign-up bonus, so I'll actually be canceling this card this year because of that $325. Now, you may ask yourself, why did they increase the annual fee? Or maybe you didn't ask, but I'll tell you. So these are the categories that the Amex Gold Card will give you all of these different credits for. And one thing that I also want to point out here is there's a term that I hear a lot of people use in the credit card space when it comes to cards that charge you an annual fee, and that term is an effective annual fee. I don't like that term, mainly because it kind of makes believe that you didn't spend the money that you spent in order to get access to these things. Okay, so what people mean when they say effective annual fee, right? They're essentially counting up the total amount of credits that you get on the card. So 124 Uber, 124 the dining credit, 84 for the Dunkin' credit, and then 100 for the Resi, right? So it's a total of $424 in credits that you get once you sign up for this card. So the effective annual fee part is basically saying that, okay, this is how much value that you're gonna get from this card. So people will subtract what they spent, which is the $325, and they say your effective annual fee, meaning that actually you're getting more money for the $325 that you're spending. My issue with that, twofold. One, it, like I said, makes believe that you didn't spend the $325. The $325 is a prerequisite to even get access to these things. Two, these credits are given to you on a use it or lose it basis. Meaning, if you don't use these credits, or if maybe you forget, maybe Dunkin' Donuts is not convenient for you and it's not like something that you even go to every day. If you forget, you've now lost out on that $7. Similarly with every other credit, if you just forget or you don't use Uber that month, or you don't go to for the dining credit, you don't go to the Cheesecake Factory or Grubhub or Goldbelly. Like if you don't use those places, you don't go there, you're essentially losing the money that you spent to get access to these things. And Amex is just kind of like, sorry, you didn't use it. So that's one of my bigger gripes with that. For people to say effective annual fee, it's not actually that. You spent $325 and it's kind of up to you to like keep up with all these different credits and making sure that they get used so that you actually get that value back. So that's a lot to consider when when you've already spent so much money on it. I just feel like it could be done in a better way, and I really don't like the way that the credits are distributed. So in my personal experience using this card, I would say unless you're somebody who is always on a plane, this card doesn't mean very much to you. And as far as the credits are concerned, sometimes you may find yourself going out of your way. I was kind of fortunate in my situation, as far as the dining credit and the Dunkin' credit, those things are readily available to me. They're very close to me. I don't actually drink Dunkin'. This credit came out while I was already like enrolled in the card under the $250 annual fee. So I just kind of like got $7 gift cards at Dunkin' and just kind of racked them up so that way I would at least have them. And with the gift card, at least the money doesn't expire, right? So I can use them if ever, whenever I go, or maybe if somebody has a birthday, happy birthday. So next, we are looking at the Robinhood Gold card. Now, this card is a sleeper card, in my opinion. A lot of people either don't know about this card or don't care about this card. And if you're not a crypto person, I get it. But for me, this is an investment card. Similarly to like the Fidelity card, where you can kind of just like reinvest the money that you're getting on your cash back. This card is amazing. I'm going to put this card in the A tier just to go ahead and let you guys know. And all you really need to know about this card is that you get 3% back on everything you spend your money on. And there is no cap. The reason that the card is in the A tier is because it does have an annual fee, but it doesn't have a sign-up bonus. And I don't think, it still says reserve a spot, so everybody cannot get this card. So it's in terms of access to the card and in terms of annual fee, that's what's kind of keeping it from the S tier. Because like I said, your baseline when it comes to cash back is always 1%, 1.5%, or 2%. This is the only card, bar some cards that would require you to have an absorbent amount of money in an account to like up, the percentage that you get. This is the only card that's going to give you 3% back with no hassle. Very, very easy. Another reason that I advocate for this card so hard is because of how easy it is to use in general. Speaking of the redemption part of this, with the Robinhood Gold card, unlike any other cashback card, this is also the only card that does this. When you redeem your cash back, right? And I only recommend redeeming the cash back on this card because you can get gift cards or like hotels, but I wouldn't recommend doing any of that. The only thing that I would recommend you do is redeem your points for cash back. The reason why, one, that cash back is given to you instantly. No other card does that. Every card has somewhat of a small like waiting period. It's not like you're not gonna get your cash back, don't get me wrong. But this card instantly gives you access to that money, whereas other cards make you wait. That's a really big deal. Also, when you redeem the money, it goes to the Robinhood platform, which instantly goes into a high interest accruing account. It's essentially like it's a high yield savings account that is given to you by Robinhood, where that money can just sit. You can choose to invest that money in crypto, or you can pull the money out. So it's a win-win situation. If you're somebody that's like, I can't imagine that you would be getting this card if you are somebody that feels like, no, I don't want to invest in crypto. But if you are that person, if you just so happen to have the Robinhood Gold card and you don't want to invest in crypto, you can just pull the money right out. You can send it right to your bank account, and it's so fast. It is so fast. The second you redeem, the money is there. I can't say enough good things about it. Now, I will say, I know that there are some people who don't like the fact that it's labeled as a no annual fee card. It absolutely does have an annual fee because you have to be a member of Robinhood Gold in order to get this card, and Robinhood Gold is $50 a year. So, with a $50 annual fee, I can't put it in the S tier. But for 3% back on all categories, if you're somebody that's investing in crypto and you want to be able to passively do that, this is absolutely one of the best cards to do that on. The platform is incredibly easy to use. Like, I can't say enough good things about it. Next on our docket is the Bilt MasterCard. Now, I'm just going to put that there before I even say anything, because if you don't know what this card is, let me tell you. This card is amazing. It is the only credit card that allows you to pay your rent without having to pay a fee. And you get whatever that rent is, you get that back in the form of points. Though, yes, it's only 1x. Again, it's the only card that does that. So even though, yes, it's just 1x, who cares? You're getting points back for one of your biggest spend categories that normally you would never get that money back for. And in this instance, this card does a lot for you credit-wise too. You can have it report to, as a credit card in general, it's going to report to the credit bureaus anyway that you're paying the card on time. You also have a credit boost feature that allows you to allow them, it sounds weird, to basically report your on-time rent payments as well. So it's twofold in terms of like helping your credit and like helping you as the consumer. Even though this card doesn't have a sign-up bonus, which normally you might take it down a tier because it doesn't have a sign-up bonus, it doesn't have an annual fee either. So no annual fee, but no sign-up bonus. I feel like that balances each other out and keeps it in the S tier. Also, there's a couple other little incentives that they have with Bilt on the first of the month, every single month. There is let me back up. With this card, aside from, of course, paying your rent, it does require you to have 5 total transactions on this card in order to get the points that you have accrued on the card. So your rent is already one of those purchases. So you really only need to spend 4 more times on the card. And on the first of the month, they call that rent day. So on rent day, they double all of the categories. All right, here we go. So with this card, of course, like I said, you're going to get the 1x on rent. You'll get 5x on Bilt Neighborhood Dining Partners. So that means 5x on the Bilt Neighborhood Dining Partners is restaurants that are partnered with Bilt. So it's going to give you 5x on those particular restaurants. So if you are in like a really big city, that's going to be really, really good for you because there's a lot of restaurants now. Like the longer I've had the card, the more restaurants I've seen added, and they're still adding more. So that's a really, really good one. And if it were rent day, that would be doubled. So you'd be getting 10x at that restaurant. But in dining in general, like across the board, 3x on dining, which again on rent day would be 6x on dining. Same for Lyft, you get the 5x. And then for travel, book directly through airlines, hotels, or rental cars. So unlike things like the Amex Gold card, which forces you to do it through their portal, Bilt gives you the option to do it through anybody's portal, including their own, and you still get the 2x back for no annual fee. Like there's nothing you can really complain about with this card. What you see is what you get and more. Next, all right. So next card on the list, we have the Amazon Prime card. This card I'm going to put, this one's kind of that one I kind of have to think about. I'm going to put this one, for me, I'm going to base this one solely on me. I'm going to put this as a B tier card. And I feel like that's fair. Like if you're somebody who also has this card, you can let me know what you think, but I'm putting this card as a B tier card because one, similar to the Robinhood Gold card, it's labeled as a no annual fee card. But here's our landing page for the Amazon Prime card. So for this card in particular, as you can see, when you read through here, you'll see 3% back on Amazon purchases or 5% back with eligible Prime membership. So that's kind of why this card is in the B tier, because you can really only maximize the rewards of this card if you are paying for the Amazon Prime membership. So similar to the Robinhood Gold card, where it's listed as a no annual fee card, if you actually want to get the benefits of this card, you do have to pay a fee. So for me personally, I don't actually use Amazon every single month. I pause my membership all the time. If I don't have like a bunch of purchases that I plan on like actually getting from Amazon, I'm not gonna pay for the membership just passively, just because I feel like it's a waste of money personally. So for me, 3% would be where I would be most of the time. 5%, like I said, is just not really worth it unless you really have something coming up. I actually initially signed up for this card because there was a pretty decent sign up bonus. Typically, that sign up bonus is like a gift card that you can get for Amazon. It's like $100 to $200 for Amazon in general. So it's like a gift card that you'll get. But that's what I signed up under. I think it was like a $200 Amazon gift card that you get when you sign up for the card. So that's what initially made me get the card. And I did have several things that I wanted to purchase from Amazon. So it was kind of a win-win situation. But one thing that I will say though, like on the plus side for this card, like one thing that I really do like about it is it's very easy for this card to just kind of switch back and forth. You know, if you do, like me, you resume your Amazon membership, this card instantly turns back on the 5% rewards. And then the second that membership is, paused or you're no longer using it or canceled or whatever, then it reverts back to the 3%. So the card itself can kind of like toggle itself on and off without any extra work from you, which I appreciate. I do really like ease of use. So that's really good. In terms of the categories that you get, the cash back in, this is also given to you in the form of points that can be used toward your Amazon purchases, in your cart, so you can kind of get money off, or you can just kind of rack them up as cash back in general. But it is in the form of points. Next on the docket, this is the Amex Business Cash. This is similar to our Wells Fargo Active Cash card. This is a 2% card, and similarly to the Wells Fargo card, I'm going to put it in the B tier. This card, just as a standard 2% cashback card, I don't have an issue with that. I think it's really, really good, but it's very cut and dry. I got this when I started doing my sole proprietorship business when I was driving for Uber. So this was a really good card to like take care of like maintenance for my car. Boom. Okay, so aside from the card being a 2% card, like I said, it's really good for like, for me, when I got the card, I wanted to get this $250 sign-up bonus. I had some maintenance on my car that I wanted to get done, and I kind of wanted to do it all at once. So this was like a good little discount for me to get my car and everything repaired without having to shell out a bunch of money. And there was a 0% introductory offer, which again, keep it high level. If you are not used to doing stuff like that, I would not recommend doing it. But yeah, that's kind of like what possessed me to even get the card. But it being a 2% card and something that I can use for my business, I also, was able to kind of redo my home office as well for business purposes too. So this was a really good card for me to use. But in terms of like what it does, it's very, very cut and dry. Just a 2% card, and you can't really go wrong with that. Next, this card, very near and dear to my heart, because this is the first card I ever signed up for. It is the Best Buy credit card, and it is going in the F tier. Unfortunately, this card is only useful at Best Buy, or it used to only be useful at Best Buy. You can use it for other things now. I'll pull up the landing page. Boom. All right, so here we go. These are your categories. You do also get 5% back. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so you get 5% back on Best Buy purchases, 3% back on gas, 2% back on dining, 2% back on groceries, and then 1x on everything else. Like I said before, the other categories outside of the Best Buy purchases category are just null and void. Especially if you're somebody who has multiple credit cards like myself, it's not something that you want to use for like other purchases outside of the initial, which would be purchases from Best Buy. The 5% back is kind of, it's good on the surface, right? It's nice to get 5% back anytime. Problem is, for most folks, and even for myself, when it comes to Best Buy, you really do like utilizing the financing feature, especially if you're trying to make like a big purchase. Like when I very first got the card, I had got a gaming PC. There was a whole point of me even getting the card because I wanted to be able to finance the gaming PC. And this is like 7 years ago now, 6 years ago. Yeah. So for me, I just wanted to be able to finance something. But if you want to finance with Best Buy, yes, you can use this card, but you will not get the 5% back. So that's a huge drawback. One of the biggest selling features of the card is all these different cash back things. And then the one that you get the most cash back for, you don't get any, you get nothing if you finance it. So that I think really is not I don't think that's a good selling point for the card. I think that they should give you the 5% whether you finance it or not, because at the end of the day, it is a Best Buy purchase. Similarly to like an Apple credit card, you can finance things from Apple. You can still get the 3% back even though you're paying on it. So I don't like that they did that, and that's ultimately what puts it in the F tier because, I mean, you essentially it's a Klarna card at that point. It doesn't do anything but ensure that you can finance your stuff without paying interest. So for that, F tier. Next, the card that I got right after the Best Buy card is the Kohl's card, which I'm going to go ahead and slap it right there. It's going to be in the F tier as well. Pretty much anytime that it's like a store card, I don't really think that they're the greatest cards. Now, back then, when I very first got these cards all those years ago, they were really good because, one, I didn't have a lot of money, and two, they fit my needs in the moment. I got the Kohl's card because I think the person at the register was like, you can get 35% off today. It was like right around like Thanksgiving time. And there was like a huge thing that they were doing at Kohl's. If you signed up for the card, you got so much money off of your purchases. And I was like, well, heck yeah, I'm down for 35% off for sure. So I signed up for the Kohl's card, but it is also in a similar, situation as the Best Buy card where it's not very useful. These are the categories. You get 7.5% back at Kohl's stores or Kohls.com. It's like one of the only credit cards where you could purchase gift cards using it, and it doesn't give you that 7.5% back. So not great. Another 3% on gas, 2x on grocery stores, and then 1 on everything else. So again, not super great. And I actually don't shop at Kohl's that much at all anymore. However, this card is one of the oldest cards on my credit report, so I don't want to close the card. And so every now and again I might go like buy some socks or just something small just to like show some activity on there. But I don't use this card very much at all anymore. It's really just there as like a legacy card, just so I can kind of look back on old times. Next, we got the Freedom Flex. So that one's going to go right here next to its good buddy Freedom Unlimited. Let's pull up that landing page. Boom. So the Freedom Flex I do like a lot. It has the same exact sign-up bonus, same no annual fee, same 0% offer. It's basically the Freedom Flex with rotating categories. Those rotating categories range anywhere from Amazon to fitness gyms to gas. It's all, you get it on a quarterly basis. So every 3 months you get these new sets of 5% categories that you can use that card for. Whenever there's like something really good like gas, which it is right now, which is about to end, but as of right now, I can get 5% back on my gas. So that's what this card is being used for. That's like its only purpose for me. But you'll notice something here. It has the exact same categories as the Freedom Unlimited card. And so that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier with that whole trifecta situation where these cards it's almost like they're meant to be used with the other travel card, the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserve. It's like they're meant to do that because the categories just almost always overlap. So it's like you're not gonna use the Freedom Flex specifically for dining or the Freedom Unlimited specifically for dining because both of them can do it. So it doesn't really matter which one you use. And the points essentially all go to the same place because you can transfer those points over to the travel card. So generally when people use these cards, they're using them because they want travel. I got these cards because I had the Freedom Unlimited already and I got an elevated offer for this. There was actually the sign up bonus when I got the Freedom Flex. they were offering 5% on groceries and gas for an entire year. So it was an additional bonus on top of the $200. So when the quarterly categories pop up for the rotating categories, I was able to get 10x on gas for an entire 3 months on top of the 5% that I was already getting. So that was really, really good for the time, but that has now since passed. But again, it is still very useful whenever like certain categories pop up. Next is the US Bank Cash Plus card. This card I actually love. I like it a lot. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. This card, let's pull up that landing page. This card will give you 5% back in 2 different categories, up to $2,000 in spend per quarter. So those categories can consist of many, many, many different things. Let's go down here and we can see what those categories are. So you can choose between fast food, TV, internet, and streaming, cell phone, home utility, department stores, or electronic stores. Sporting goods, gym, ground transportation, movie theaters, furniture stores, or select clothing stores. So this card does offer a wide range of things, but because of that $2,000 cap, you do kind of want to be careful with the way that you spend your money. So I personally use this card for home utilities, and I use it for my internet. That kind of gets me really close to that limit, and I'm able to maximize the rewards that I get from this card just by the things that I have to spend my money on, which are my utilities and my internet. So it does work out really well for me in that case. And that was why I got the card, specifically for the home utility piece, because no other card is going to give you 5% back on your home utilities. Sign up bonus for this card is $200. It's normally $150 as you can see, but right now it's elevated to $200 after you spend $1,000 in 3 months. So based on what categories you pick, should be able to hit that pretty easily, I would say. Southwest, I was based out of Nashville, so if you ever travel in Nashville, this card is kind of a must, because if you want to get on a plane, this is a very easy card to use, and you can get direct flights from here to like New York or here to Texas. So this is a very good card to use. It is a $69 annual fee, and outside of travel, you don't use it for anything else. So because it's not super versatile and doesn't really mesh well with other cards that I have, it goes into the C tier for that reason. But overall, like I said, it's more so based on where you live. So this may not be like a travel card that a lot of people would get, just because, like I said, it's really based on where you live. The next card is going to be the American Express Blue Cash, or Blue Business Plus. Jesus, that was a lot. This card, instead of giving you 2% cash back, it gives you 2x, so a multiplier, and those are given to you in the form of MR points. This card I also got similarly because of my business, just getting things started and paying for things like a desk or lighting or whatever. So 15,000 MR points once you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months of having the card. If you're a business owner, it's probably very easy for you to hit that. So I would say go for it if you're a business owner. It's really nice to have in your back pocket. Also, like I said, it's a 2x card, so it's really nice. And the fact that you can share those MR points with other American Express cards that you already have just kind of goes into a pool. Very nice to have if you're a business. Now we have the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy card, and I'm just going to instantly put it in the B tier. I think this card is also very, very amazing. It has very similar multipliers to the American Express Gold card, and it has the American Express Gold card's previous annual fee, which was $250. So very good card for that reason. Get 4x on dining, get the 4x on groceries, but it's 2x on everything else, unlike the Amex Gold card, which is 1x on everything else. Those points, however, are only stored in Marriott, so you can't like use the points that you earn here and mix them with your MR points from other cards, which is kind of a bummer. But this card does give you elevated status, so you instantly get gold status. I really like Marriott hotels. I stay there often, so this is something that I had to get when it became available to me. The sign-up bonus was also very good, so I enjoyed getting this card, and still enjoy using this card from time to time whenever we do go to a Marriott. But yeah, that's that looks like that's all 15. Okay, yeah, that's all 15 of my cards. You get 6x on hotels that are eligible purchases at hotels. So if you buy food at the hotel, buy the hotel room itself, you're gonna get the 6x back. Plus, you get the 4X on the supermarkets and on restaurants. Plus, like I said, 2X for everything else. But yeah, guys, so that's my twist, my take. These are my 15 credit cards. That's how I feel about them. I might cut some of them out as we talked about, but for the most part, I pretty much enjoy my setup. All these cards do still get use, so you know that's always a plus, but I can always trim some fat here and there, so I might do that. Like I said, I'm definitely not going to renew the American Express card, and because I have so many 2X cards, probably will get rid of the Wells Fargo card, as I don't have any other Wells Fargo cards. So just to kind of consolidate like app usage and different things that you have to check, probably won't stick with that card too much longer, but it was really fun while it lasted. But yeah, that's my credit card setup, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I could talk about this stuff for days, for hours, for weeks, for years. Let me know what you guys think. Anything that you guys want me to talk about next. I plan on making a lot more videos. I'm looking at my whiteboard right now of all the different ideas that I have written down. Very excited to talk about all this stuff and just to see where it goes. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Let me know if you guys have a credit card setup. I would love to review someone else's credit card setup just to see like what you guys are doing and you know how you guys are using your cards. So yeah, let me know. Appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.